Hello, Music Theory 3 students. Welcome to the screencast of your first assignment. The assignment is to make mini progressions featuring each of the non-dominant seventh chords and their progression in type 1 resolution, that is, circle progression with resolution of the seventh factor of the chord. Let's get started. I've scanned a page from my notes that should look something like your notes. Here I have a chart that shows each of the non-dominant seventh chords in major and in minor keys. Notice that in major keys there are 4 non-dominant seventh progressions, and in minor keys there are 6, for a total of 10. The reason why there is 6 in minor keys versus in major keys is because 4/7 can progress in circle progression to 7, the subtonic chord, and the subtonic chord itself as a non-dominant seventh can progress to 3. Okay, so let's get started here with notation. We're going to notate in 4-part harmony each of these mini progressions in various keys using finale. I like to write out my progression before I actually go to finale to do the notation. I find it a little bit more efficient. So here I have a progression that I found on page 277, figure 13.10. On figure 13.10, Benward shows us how to progress a non-dominant seventh chord in type 1 resolution. You'll notice that he shows you where the seventh is and that he shows you that the seventh must go down 1 scale tone. So I'm going to move this over to the side and just slide it over like this and open up finale, where I have this convenient setup here. Notice that I have my tool palettes nice and close to the area where I'm going to work, and I've increased the size by hitting Command and plus to make it nice and big. This makes it a little easier to use. Remember that when you're working in 4-part harmony, you need to work in 2 layers. You need to freeze the stem directions in order for the stems to be going the right way. And remember that you do that by using the Document Options dialog box, specifically layers. And you can see up here that if you select a layer, you can freeze the stems in the appropriate direction. Now, for my purposes, I'm going to use layer 1 for the alto and the bass. Alto and bass, the stems should go down. For layer number 2, soprano and tenor, where the stems are going to go up. This will allow me to methodically work through my progressions, one voice or a pair of voices at a time. So I'm going to begin by copying this here into finale using half notes in 4/4 time. C, and then the alto, and then my next. Now I'm going to go to layer 2 and add the soprano and the tenor. And this should hook the tenor and the bass together. Okay, now you can see the 7th factor of the 1/7 chord is moving down by step to the 3rd factor of the very next chord. 7th factors resolve to 3rd factors, and so now you can see that clearly. The next step is to show what key we're in using the text tool. This is a little tedious because in order to get the 7 in the right place, we need to superscript it using the text tool, and we can superscript it at 0.1. Now when I type the 7, it'll put it up, but remember that when you do this, you have to reset it to 0. Okay, now as I go along, I can label this chord as 4. Be sure that you're using lowercase and uppercase for major versus minor chords. So here's example 1, 1, 7 to 4. And you'll do this working through each of the progressions. There are a lot of tricks. For instance, I could take this, move it over to here, and then transpose this diatonically up. You can see transpose up diatonically. That means one scale step in the key, and then hit OK. That puts it up. Now I have 2, 7 moving to 5. I simply have to label that. The only thing is that this is in the key of C, and what I'm really looking for is a variety of keys. So we could, theoretically here, change the key signature of this measure. Let's say to G major. Well, let's go to D major. Now I have 2, 7 to 5 in D major. The only thing is that if you're going to use this method, you need to be sure that your bass doesn't go too high or your soprano doesn't go too high. And you can go back to Benward and look for the ranges. But you should try a variety of voicings. But this is a very common voicing, and this is what he's illustrating on figure 13.10. Okay, the next step here would be to label this in the key of D major, and so forth. And so this is what I'm looking for, 10 miniature progressions in a variety of keys. You can use keys multiple times if you wish, but in a variety of keys illustrating the resolution of the 7th factor and the circle progression of each of the non-dominant 7th chords in major and minor keys. In terms of grading, I'm going to be looking for that the 7th is resolved and the 2 chords for each progression are accurate. But I'm also going to be checking your voice leading to make sure that each of the voices is in the correct range, and you should know how to do that by now. Well, that's all, and I hope you enjoyed the screencast and that this is an efficient way to review and present this material. Good luck.